Very nice. Am I really tall or is... No, I think it's... I feel this screen was further up last time.
Are you standing now?
I'm sitting.
Oh.
Maybe I'm not sitting far enough. Maybe. Does that look better?
Ooh, guys, we're in the stream. Say hello. Ooh.
Hello. Okay.
All right. I guess we'll start off this session. Welcome, everyone, to the first of 3 Breach Talk sessions. Today, we're going to hear from Studio Gauntlet, a local game studio from Trondheim. And they have recently launched a game, Bad Game of Football. And today we will hear some of that, how that came to be. So please welcome Christer Rebni from Studio Gauntlet to the stage.
Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, I think I'll just present the studio a bit and then talk about what we're doing right now. I'm not good at giving long presentations, so just to preemptively warning you, it might be short. So if I press, is this to start? Yeah, that looks correct. Okay, this is the logo. So yeah, I'm working at Studio Gauntlet now, or we founded it 4 years ago. You see the group photo here. That's me in the lower right corner. And at this point, we were 6 people. We're around 5 right now. It started with me in the green shirt and Alex in the blue sweater. We founded it back in 2018. And then we've had quite quite a lot of people, or not quite a lot, but we had people come and go, and yeah. So right now we're 5 people, because we started it actually, or we can let's start the story at the beginning. It begins here at the Institute for Design at NTNU. Both me and Alex, we were studying design together, and we had one course called game design. And during that course, we kind of thought it was really fun to make games. So we kind of thought, maybe we should try and make something out of this later. And we ended up writing our master thesis together and writing about game design, even though I studied product design, which is usually like physical stuff. But we kind of got a good, what's it called? Supervisor on our master thesis who kind of let us bend the rules a bit, and that was really fun and nice. But during, as we were studying, like our first kind of small bit of success maybe was when a viral video in Norway. Okay, there was a viral video in Norway a couple of years ago, but a moose who attacks a lawnmower and destroys it. And the video had a really like funny voiceover because the person filming, she was saying kind of funny stuff with what, and so did lots of other people in Norway. And we kind of riffed on that and made a like low like pixel art, really basic web game out of it. And that got a little bit of traction. People thought it was kind of funny. And yeah, we thought it was funny to do that. So it was like the first time we got like response like from the outside of our studies, like not just our classmates, but somebody else like responded to what we made. Yeah, so that was pretty fun. So they did like this article And there's young Christer and young Alex way back in the day showing. They had us like take NRK said we had to take a picture of ourselves and send it to them. So we just took a really serious picture and sent it to them. So yeah, that was like the first time we made a game that kind of had success like we thought about it. And when the master thesis was being written, we were looking ahead. We wanted to we kind of felt like, because our master thesis was called How to Kickstart a Game Development Studio. So it was in the cards that we wanted to make a video game studio. So I think, the first like big project we did after our studies, and this was also part of our master thesis, was a game called Bankis, which was like a 4-player or 2 to 4-player local co-op game where you are like small space monkeys and you have to build these structures in space. And we started working on that during the master thesis. And in total, we kind of spent like 3 years, I think, from start to finish on that, which was quite a long time for like the first game. And it was quite quite difficult. We kind of had to learn so much new stuff. Even though we had studied design, we hadn't studied like more of the technical stuff when it comes to game development. So and we made the game for all of the major platforms at the time, which meant like PlayStation and Xbox and Switch and also PC. So there was a lot of like technical stuff to learn, and also just like you have to what's it called, translate the game into several different languages. That's also one thing you have to do. So there was a lot of learning. But the reason we kind of set out on that journey was because we took the prototype. So this is what the finished game, the Steam page for a finished game looked like. Here's a fun little picture from way back. Let's see if it loads. It does. This was the Norwegian Game Awards, which is like a local game awards here in Trondheim. They had, you can sign up if you're a student to be in the competition. And we did that with Bankis. That's like an early version of Bankis. You can still see that it's like 2D. Yeah, like the gameplay is pretty much the same, but it's very like different. That's at least what I notice as a artist and a 3D modeler. And I think this game, no, this picture is really high res. I think I'm gonna skip to the next one. So yeah, and because it turns out we had the game there, people really liked it seemed, and we even, let's see, hey, there we go. We won a couple of awards for it at the game show, and that was really fun because that was like another like what's gonna push in the right direction. That's, hey, you can try and make actual money of this. Like this was the first time we made actual money of the game, of any of the games. Just 20K, so that's pretty like when you're just coming from student life and haven't really, it doesn't go that far when it comes to paying like real bills, but it's a real like nice confirmation of like, hey, you're onto something here, keep working. So yeah, we kind of kept working, and then we released after 3 years, as I said, all major platforms. Launch went kind of okay. Could have gone better, but I mean, it was a difficult genre at the time. It was kind of like we hit the tail end of that whole like local co-op, because Overcooked and games like that, they kind of started that and made it really popular. So we came at the trailing end, and kind of we got like, it still sells, but not enough to pay all the bills. Yeah, and also it was during COVID that we launched, and it was like a local co-op game. So our marketing was a bit like, gather your friends to play this game, but you shouldn't really do that. So kind of difficult. So in hindsight, we should have added the online multiplayer, which it came on like Steam with remote play. You can use it with that. So, but I don't think remote play is maybe that popular. I don't know. I don't know if people use it. But still, it was fun, and we got our first game out, which is like a huge relief off the shoulders, because you're like really anticipating, like, oh my god, this game's gotta be the best game ever, because if it isn't, then you failed as a game designer. But I'd say we were happy about the game. We after winning the student awards, we also put it into the Spillprisen, which is like the Norwegian national, we're gonna call it, award stuff. And we even won a prize, no, 2 prizes there. Wow, I almost forgot. So yeah, and it received pretty fairly good reception in like reviews and stuff. So we got, I don't know if you can see on the picture, we got to put like 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 on the Steam capsule, which is always fun. Yeah. So after that, we kind of, I don't have any pictures for it, but we had like a period of like trying to find the next project, like what we're gonna do after this, what's interested us, and we kind of got some advice that we should maybe take a break and wind down and take a holiday. But we were like, nah, we know better than that. We just power through and we'll find something. So we were like, there were lots of concepts we kind of touched upon. But nothing really clicked. Either the scope was wrong, or we didn't see like a market for it, or stuff like that. So, which is something we became more aware of after this launch. But after a while of being kind of stuck in limbo and trying out many different things, we kind of landed on our next project, which is a bad game of football. And the premise for this was just like, we were sitting around one day and we were like, we were looking at some data for Steam and like looking at popular genres that don't have that many games in that genre, like stuff that people buy, but not necessarily that many games, because some genres on Steam are really, really saturated. So we were like kind of looking to avoid making something that kind of already existed. So what we ended up seeing was like, okay, there's not that many strategy and sports games. Okay, let's just combine those two. So we made a strategy sport game. So this is like, it's soccer or football meets RTS. So it's like RTS controls from like Warcraft or Starcraft, stuff like that. So you control the entire team at once. You like click on your players, move them around. And the setting for this is like this guy. See if he pops up. Did I click it? There we go. Satan is like hosting his own sporting event because he want to make the like the most evil football tournament possible. So like you choose a champion and you have like minions, and each champion has their own like superpowers they can activate during the match. Like Vlad the Impaler, he can shoot spikes up that kills the enemy players. Because in this sports games, it's like 2 different ways of winning. You can either like destroy the entire enemy team, or you can score more goals like in regular football. So yeah, it's like a really fast-paced, but also feels like really slow in a way, in a good way. Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. So that's what we're working on right now. We launched into early access, probably go out in full release sometime on the new year, maybe January. Here you can see like a unholy flame ball being kicked. Yeah, and to do like a fun little release stuff, we had like a Norway we actually had a world championship in the game to promote it like an esport, where we had like the trophy was like a customized keycap with the trophy from the in-game. Like this is the death trophy that the winner in the game wins. So we had like a keycap with a tiny little trophy on it that the winner got. And we had like, I think it was like 24 people who signed up and competed. So that was really fun. Yeah, I think that's our journey so far. I don't think I have that much more to talk about. So if there's questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Christer, for that talk. I'm sure there are some questions for us, for you, I mean. So if anyone in the YouTube chat has some questions, feel free to type them down. And while hopefully some questions are ticking in there, we can always ask the audience right here if they have some. So if there's anyone, please, yeah, I see some. That's Killian, I think. Go ahead.
Yes, it's me. Are you planning to have other competitions and tournaments for a bad game of football?
Yeah, definitely. It was like we saw like, first of all, like you get actual people playing the game. So okay, there was like a lot of positives doing it, not just like as a promotional tool, but also like we got to see actual people playing the game. Of course, it was a promotional tool. We got lots of like pictures we can use as marketing material, or just like to look at and be like, oh my god, somebody played our game. It was nice. But I think as a developer, I think the most like the fun part was to see and get so much feedback and be like, because the people there had ideas, but also like you just kind of see what the game needs kind of when you see actual people playing it, and especially in like a competitive setting. I just feel like I see points and also see like opportunities for like making the gameplay even more exciting. And so yeah, I think we definitively, at least for a full launch, and like hopefully if the game does really well, we want to do lots of stuff. We're also doing kind of like a bit of a parody and satire in the game. So there is gonna be some stuff related to like the football stuff in Qatar and stuff like that. So we are gonna be doing lots of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for the question, Killian. We do have some questions popping in on the chat as well. So I'll just jump to this question from Johannes. And he wants to know what's next for Studio Gauntlet. And are you going to focus on improving your game? Or are you going to release something new in the future?
I think we're definitively gonna work more on American football. Like we haven't released the full version yet, and also we have lots of stuff planned there. And we might do a couple like small projects, like really small, to kind of mix things up and not get bored with one project. Yeah, it's easy to get bored with one project when you have it too long.
Yes, I feel you. So I guess we'll just wait and see. There are a couple more questions in the chat. Is there any questions from the audience?
I think someone over there.
Over there, Olaf, I think.
Hi. I'm very curious about your process in sort of narrowing down on what you wanted to make, because it's very easy to fall into a bunch of pits and overscope. What has sort of been your experience when developing now 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are pretty bad at scoping stuff. It's just so easy to get carried away and be like, this game needs everything to be awesome. I think at least for a bad game football, like the idea was always pretty like contained in that like in the beginning there wasn't even gonna be trainers and champions, as we call them, like different coaches that have different abilities. So we were like really focused on getting the basics in place. So I think that just came out of the idea. Basically, the idea was we want to make football with RTS controls. Let's just make that, and it was pretty bare bones. But when we did that, we were like, okay, that's cool, but it would be even more fun. So that was more of like an addition, like we added stuff, and it, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard question to answer because you always want to add more stuff. But I just feel like we are a pretty small team, and especially like when it comes to, for example, visual stuff, it's me who does the visuals for the game. So we kind of have to take really like hard choices when it comes to what we actually can implement at the time. So yeah, I don't know if I have a good answer. I don't know. I just feel like it's more of like the team gets better at assessing their own skills and like what we can actually accomplish in what time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think yeah, I don't know.
It's an insightful answer and an anecdote. We have more questions from the YouTube chat, and I guess it's difficult to make games in Norway, especially. And let's see, what was the name? Christopher. He is curious about how you are able to finance the studio. What magic goes beyond to be able to fund such games?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a huge part of the kind of left out. But we were really lucky after having like done our master thesis and started working on the game. We received basically one investment with two different entities, as we call them, two investors who invested in us, which was Jonas Antonsson, which is quite well known in Sweden and in the games industry, and Kick-Ass Invest from Work. And without that, I don't think we could have done that, and at least not worked full time. It would have to be a part-time gig. So kind of, yeah, I think having those investments and then being able to do it full time. I wouldn't say we're like in a secure financial situation though. So I don't know. We're always like thinking a couple of months ahead and being like, if we just reach the next mark, then we can, continue doing it. So, and also we've done some consultancy work and kind of padded the coffers that way. And the last one is here in Norway, you can apply for public grants and get assistance there. Although we're kind of like always like being, we're now at the point where like we have to make sure that we want to invest the time that it takes to get the grant, and not like if it's for too little money, we're not sure that it's worth it, kind of, because it does take time, and it does like you have to do reporting afterwards, and you have to do lots of like what's called regnskap, which is like financial stuff. Like we still do that, but you have to kind of report that stuff, and it takes time, it takes energy. So I think we're at the point where like if we're going to do like it's like doing Kickstarter, like it has to be right for the project, or it has to be right for the team at the time. So I feel right now we're not maybe looking into grants, but that might change anytime. Who knows? I think right now we're trying to make money 100% off the games.
Yeah, great answer. It does highlight how difficult it is to make games here in Norway. So yeah, thanks for the answer, and thanks for the question. Is there any more questions here in the audience? If not, I do know we have. Oh, Andreas.
If you go back to the slide, just bad game of football, just showcasing the board with everything. did you talk about it or
Maybe-
not?
Is it?
What informed like this one? What informed the visual direction? Like, why did you choose this art style over any other?
Well, okay, what you're seeing now is actually kind of version 2 or 3 of the art style, because it started out kind of inspired by like 1960s, 70s football posters, which are really like stylized and clean and super like, but we didn't feel it because the game was turning pretty like it was pretty comical in a way, or like we had like really violent stuff and then it looked kind of sleek and was like, so then we really leaned into the cartoon style, like super cartoony stuff, and there is some like leftovers from that's being removed bit by bit, but then we were like, okay, it's too cartoony, like the gameplay is super, it is the gameplay, yes, it is a bit silly, but it's also like a competitive game. And we didn't feel that in the art style maybe. So this is like the third iteration where we kind of, because the girlfriend to Alex, she was like, because he was discussing it with her, and she was like, you got to commit to evil. So we did a commit to evil update where we like, that's when we rolled out Satan and changed the setting from just like a normal football game to, okay, it's set in hell. All these people are in hell. They're playing the most evil round of football ever. And that's when we kind of leaned into like a bit more like, as you can see, like it's cartoony shading. It has like really dark shadows. It has outlines on stuff, or at least it's going to get more stuff at least. And so we went for a more like a kind of dark fantasy, which I also think might do better on Steam, because on Steam, like super cartoony stuff, yeah, it can do well. But I think more like gritty and a bit darker art styles do better, at least right now. So we were like, we just did a pivot there. We were like, okay, it needs to be darker. It needs to be like more gritty, a bit more blood, a bit more demons, a bit more flames, explosions. Yeah, so I think, yeah, the art style right now, it's basically like toon shading. And like I like Borderlands, the what they do with like having hand drawn stuff mixed in with. I think it's really neat. So that's what I'm working on right now, making it more like gritty, and because I think it fits the gameplay right now, which is like it's pretty cutthroat, and like you can tackle a player to death and he will just explode in like chunks. So I think making the setting a bit more dark, but still like kind of lighthearted and fun, really fit the game. Yeah.
Awesome. Great question and great answer. There's a couple more on the YouTube chat, and a question asked by Essen that I guess a lot of us at Breach is curious about is if you've ever entertained the idea of making a VR game. We are in VR after all.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty early on the hype train of VR. We were at like during the third semester in my master's program, we visited actually Oculus in that was been 2016, I think, and got to try out the Rift. And I have it at home. I have made some prototypes. So and we have a drawer of not that many, but at least one project. That's a VR game. I think for us now we're kind of in the mindset of not exactly mass producing games, but like shortening our development time, because we saw like with Bonkis it was too long. It's not like the risk associated with having that long development time didn't make sense for us, because we couldn't spend 3 years on a game and then have it come out and not be a huge success. So right now we're kind of, I mean, for this game we kind of messed up. We did have to learn something new, which is networking, which we hadn't done before, online networking. So props to the developers, Alex and Brage, which are working really hard on that. But other than that, this is like pretty well-known stuff, so we can like be pretty sure that we're gonna hit the deadlines and be able to make stuff pretty fast. So okay, so that's a long way of saying VR, I think, is really exciting, and maybe we'll one day talk about that project. Oh man, I feel I feel a bit not saying what it is, but it's like it's our it's a pet project, and it's as soon as we have something we can show up on a big screen, that would be really cool to show. But it's a new technology and like a new paradigm, so it would there would be some risk involved with that. But maybe like taking it step by step, maybe it wouldn't be that bad. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe we'll see a bad game of football in VR, maybe.
Like first monkeys in VR, and now
yeah, sure. There are a couple of more questions. One relating to game design documents, and this one is from Ruko, and he wonders what's your approach to game design documents? How do you go about updating it as a team, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just I think it depends really on the project, because like this project is like when it comes to stuff like I guess our game design document is probably right now consists of like our tasks, which is in ClickUp, which is the software we use, like, and basically the text that's on the Steam page, that's what we use kind of as a guideline. And when we update the Steam text, that's what reflects what the game is, because I think this game is not that lore heavy. It doesn't need all the backstory. It doesn't need like maybe we should be writing more game design documents, is what I'm saying, but we don't really do that. When we apply for grants and stuff like that, then we do it. We kind of set it down in stone and be like, but it's also like maybe the way we work, we haven't found a way of doing it that makes us like, that feels good in a way. It always feels a bit forced for us to write an actual document that's like a, what's it called, like a Word document, and write down everything. I think we like much more to like it exists in post-it notes on doors here and on walls. It's like, because we need like pictures and writing and arrows going everywhere, and so it probably looks very chaotic, but I think we just feel like we need the malleability of being able to just write something and put it up and take something down. But I think it's also like about size of the team, probably. Like now I'm guessing, because our development team is like 3 core people basically doing the development. So I'm guessing when you get bigger teams like you have, it's probably more important to have a document where everybody can look up what they need to see. But this is just guessing from my side, because we've never been that big. Yeah. Wait, am I deaf? Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Oh, that was me muting myself. Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. And as I said to myself, I'm pretty sure all teams have their own ways of doing it. So your answer is as good as anyone's. Is there any more questions from the audience here? Or should we do another one? We have Adam.
Yes, thank you. So you have worked on several games that you have had published. I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts regarding the marketing around the game launch. Is there anything that you would have done differently this time? Any learnings?
Yeah, just I feel maybe we tapped out a bit on the Bonkers marketing. Like we kind of not to throw anyone under the bus, but like we should probably have been more involved ourselves to do like drawings and stuff, like illustrations, and because kind of we know our game best, so I think we could have been or should have been a good resource for their marketing team. Like we shouldn't hand it off to them and be like, okay, now you market it. It should be like a collaboration between the developer and the publisher, I think, ideally. So yeah, I think we should have offered to be in on that a bit more, maybe. And for this one, we're doing like self-publishing, which is kind of scary, but also like feels very, for control freaks like us, feels very nice. We kind of can do whatever we want at any time. It's like nothing like, or we kind of have to do one basic check of like, should we do this? Is it a bad idea? But as long as we don't feel it's a bad idea, we can do it. And that's really fun. And also like, I think it's more like, I find it interesting, and to be like, to be able to do stuff, to have such a short distance between like the marketing team and the development team, because then you get stuff like the transportation and the feedback of information is so much faster. Like the marketing team can say, okay, this is really popular right now. Could we do something in game about this? And then the development team can be like, yeah, we can implement this and try and market like something as simple as like we implemented the fire kick, as you can see here. That's like specifically a thing we added because it's like visually cool. It's also a fun ability in the game, but it's like a very like understandable and tangible like thing that people, when they see this picture, they can like understand. Okay, you can kick a ball so hard it becomes like a fireball. And it's like, so yeah, I think we now have like always in the back of our mind as a development team, that's what we're making. It has to be able to be used in marketing, or should be able. I mean, okay, you're making backend stuff, or you're making like menu systems. Okay, that's necessary stuff. You got to have that. But like, at least for me, who's making like visual stuff and effects and drawing stuff and modeling stuff, then it's always in the back of my mind of like, how is this gonna look in a GIF? So I think we really enjoy that short distance, which is, I mean, 0 distance. The person is sitting next to me. So yeah, I think that's what we learned also about ourselves. Like that's what we enjoy. Like we enjoy having lots of say and input.
Awesome. Thank you for the question, Adam. I think we will have time for maybe one more or two more if it's too short questions. So I'll first again ask if anyone here has a question. And if not, I did see a question in the YouTube chat. This one is from Christopher, and he basically says or wants to know, since this is a PvP game, have you had any discussion or thoughts about what the minimum requirement for number of concurrent users to have an active multiplayer scene for your game?
Yeah, I mean, what kind of separates this game from like, yeah, okay, games that require like a certain level of, or a certain number of what they call active users are usually games that have multiple people play in the same lobby, like Dota or LoL or I don't know, CS. Like these games, they require quite a lot of people because you got to find someone in your area of the world, and like if it's just empty lobbies, then the game is no fun. I think we kind of have thought about this game more as like a friend or friend group game. So it's not necessarily, you can use our awesome quick play system to find like quick match with people all over the world, and it is possible, but we have kind of optimized for, this is a game where you like say to a friend, hey, this game is really cool, we should play it together. And then you kind of play against your friend. So it's more like a board game in the way we think about it, maybe. Because we're not really relying on the quick match system, although if it turns out that lots of people play using the quick match system, then great. But I think we've always been thinking about it as more of a like a friend to friend game. But we'll see what it becomes. I don't know. I mean, it is a huge concern when you're making a multiplayer game that people are playing it. So, I mean, we are looking into adding some incentives for, like, we don't want to become like super, like we're also trying to make fun of FIFA with this game and the whole like what sports games has become. So we're kind of looking into adding like not microtransactions and loot boxes, but like leveling and XP systems, the kind of maybe parody what exists in other games. Yeah, but yeah, it's more we're thinking of it more as a friend to friend game. So you like you sit on Discord and you say to a friend, let's play this, even though it's competitive.
Yeah, great. I think that should answer it. It's a very scary topic for the developers of such games. But I think we'll end it there for today. So thank you so much, Christer, for coming out to this VR experience, to the first Breach Talks. So yeah, thank you a lot. We will have another one of these on Thursday. So for anyone who has joined either in VR or on our stream on YouTube, feel free to come join us on Thursday at 7. At that point, we will hear from Norn Studio. So yeah, I think that should be it for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Been a pleasure. Been a pleasure. Woo! Awesome.